Alright, we're going to do a kind of a bluegill fly that I've been messing with lately. We're going to tie it in brown and tan, but it's kind of an experiment as of right now, so we'll see how it fishes later this year. But we're using a nymph hook, and it's important to use a little bit heavier hook when you have so much foam on a hook so that it will ride correctly in the water. So I'm just going to dress it with some wood duck colored thread. It's a UTC 70 thread. And I wanted a fly that kind of was a mix between a woolly bugger and a Chernobyl ant. So you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. So I'm going to take the marabou, I'm going to tie it in right around the midpoint of the hook and take it back. I'm using extra select marabou, so it's really nice and flowy, I guess. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to pinch it with my thumbnail right about right here and just break it off. If you take scissors and cut it, it will make a really unnatural edge. But if you do it that way, it still kind of keeps the integrity of the bugginess. Alright, for the body on this fly, I'm going to use some Arizona synthetic dubbing in yellow tan. No dubbing loop here, just dubbing it directly onto the thread. You kind of want this back calf to be a little bit fat, kind of like Curtis. Don't edit that out.
Boom.
Okay, that's what the back half should look like. I've taken some brown 2mm craft foam, and I've cut it roughly the gap, or the width of the gap of the hook, and I'm going to cut a V into the end of it. So we've cut it about like that. I'm going to stick it on top of this flyer so the V is right where the tail starts. So right about like this. I'm going to pinch that on and just tie it in right there. And then I'm going to make a little bit of a band of thread. So I don't want this to flop all around, and if you don't super glue this down to the dubbing, it will turn all around the hook. So I'm just going to take a little tiny dab of super glue, and I'm going to stick it right on that dubbing. I'm going to hold that and just kind of pinch it in place. Okay, now I'm going to come up in front of the foam, and I'm going to put more dubbing up there. It's okay if this is pretty fat too. Make a little bit of a head right here because I'm going to take my foam and tie it in now. So I'm going to pull my foam over, and I'm going to tie it in right at that point. So that's what we're looking like so far. Now I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to bring it over the top of this section back to the band that we made. And I'm going to pull this section over and tie it down. With a couple generous wraps of thread. Next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this piece off, and I'm going to trim it right where this notch is. So I'm going to take my scissors, lay it right where that notch is, and just trim this piece straight across. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a V in the piece that I just cut. And the V is purely for me. I don't think the fish will care, but it looks cool. And again, I'm going to take some super glue and I'm going to tag that down. That's a little bit too much. Okay, once that's down, that'll cure up for me. I'm going to take a piece of tan foam that's cut roughly the same width as the brown foam, and I'm going to cut a V in that as well. And I'm going to stick that right on top of the other pieces. We'll just tie it in just like that. So it's kind of layered. Then at this point I'm going to put in some rubber legs. I've done some of these with regular round rubber. I'm going to do these with some perfectly barred silly legs. And for bluegill flies, I really like to leave the legs a little bit longer. So I'm just going to tie in two legs on each side. So it'll make it so there are actually 4 legs on each side when you get them all tied in. So I've just looped it around. You can position your legs how you want them, and then we're essentially pretty much done tying stuff in. I'm going to take this top piece of foam and just take my scissors and cut it off, and then instead of whip finishing, I'm just going to take a little tiny bit of super glue and put that right on the top of the fly. I'm going to take my thread and just trim it off right there. So now I'm going to take my scissors, cut the legs to length. It's kind of up to you as to how long you want them to be. We'll do them about like that. So anyway, that's I think I'm calling this the foam dragon for right now. And I also have a trout version that I'm working on right now that's going to be very similar. But anyway, if any of you tie this, catch some bluegill on it and send us some pictures.